So I'm going to stitch weld all of the edges along here, the top, into the frame member, and then obviously you can see I'll plug weld the sides, plus I'll plug weld the flange part as well. So I'm putting lots of strength in here. Once this piece is installed and welded and finished and ground down, then I'll be putting, like I said earlier, I'll be taking another piece of steel. I think it's about 14 gauge, and I'll insert it over top of the welds. I might even make an extra flange on it too. The receptacle here has provisions for bolt holes for the bottom clamp to fit. So what I'll do is, this comes in from the bottom. So after I get all the welding done, the support structure finished, then I'll take some measurements. I have to make sure that this is positioned correctly here, fore and aft, and then I'll use these as a template, and I'll drill from the bottom up through the flange so I have bolt holes. Because this is actually, well, it'll be edge welded from the back inside the frame member, but the bottom part of the clamp that holds the spring in place here, there's through bolts here. It's bolted in, and that allows you to remove the spring should you need to. And that, as I said earlier, I'll be showing you how I plan on finding exactly the right position relative to the rest of the relative to the driver's side, and I should be able to maintain parallel axle placement and spring placement with that. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to wait till this weld-through primer dries. Well, good morning. Grandpa Gary back on the Jag again, on the Mark II. Anyway, just wanted to show you the work's progressing here on the Panhard mounting rebuild. I've got some plug welds here I've got to touch up, and I'm going to be plug welding the flange. The flange is down here to the first section I put on. So what you're going to see is me doing a whole lot of stitch welding and then grinding. I'll be putting that on time lapse. It's pretty boring. That's it for now. Okay, here we are. I got the second plate welded on to the frame, and those are all the welds. It's time to do some grinding now. It's not looking too pretty, but by the time I'm finished grinding it down and then filling any gaps, which I can see there's a few, then we'll continue to weld. Well, good morning. Grandpa Gary back on the Jag project. I just thought I'd start today's episode with a comparison of the new Panhard rod mount, which will fit from below into the frame of the car, and this older section here. This is the destroyed old support, Panhard support mount. The dimensions of the new mount, here to here, here to here, here to here, are identical with what the old one was. So this dimension here, 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 and so on is identical. As well, the gauge of the metal is identical to the gauge of the old piece. This is what I was left with at the end of the removal. You can see some of the extensive corrosion in the metal, and it required a long time. This is about 3.5 hours of work, because when I was disassembling the Panhard mount, I tried to do it in such a way that I didn't actually make more work and more cost and waste time removing it. So this is fitted up inside as the rear frame, and there's several layers of metal to comprise the frame itself. And when you disassemble this, you don't want to just take and cut willy-nilly in there without giving it some serious thought. So I peeled back the layers, and it took time, and you can see this is what I was left with. I had to actually cut everything apart to be able to remove this, but in the end I know now that what's left in the frame is sound, and I'm going to be finalizing one side of the frame mount for the Panhard mount. So the Panhard, if this is the front, towards the front of the vehicle, this is the rear. This is where the Panhard rod fits in here, and the rod extends to the rear axle housing. This side of the mount is where I'm working currently. So I'll finish installing the third and final plate, and then I'll begin work on restoring the other side of the frame member that this fits into. Basically fits into a pocket. And then the Panhard mount, the flanges that extend out from the frame, like as you can see, I will drill out. This will be bolted, but I do plan on edge welding here, as well as this area here and here. I'm going to fabricate, because I don't want I want to minimize the amount of contaminants getting into the frame, and try to minimize rust and corrosion happening. So there may need to be some adjustments. I may need to make some alterations to this piece here to make it fit and fit well and tight. So anyway, I'm going to show you the new plate that I'm making. So here we have the new plate. As you can see, I have a fold line marked out here. This is about 12 gauge. It's between 12 and 14. So say if there was such a thing as 13 gauge metal, this would be it. It's very, very similar to this. In fact, it's a little bit beefier than the existing frame metal, but this will be the third and final piece that I install on the one side of the frame that I'm currently rebuilding. I have a brake to fold this, but it's so heavy, my brake isn't really suited to this gauge of metal, so I'm going to make a groove with my zip cutter. I'm not going to cut all the way through, and I will fold this this way after. But first things first, I'll grind off all the paint, clean up the edges. So what will happen after I fold is I will be most likely trial fitting and trimming and that. Once this is fitted, I'll weld the top to the frame as well as this side here. This is the part that will be adjacent to the new Panhard rod mount. I plan on drilling 2 holes for plug welds, say here and here as well, taking into account the fact that there's a hole right here. I'll have to miss that, but I plan on probably plug welding this plate, say here and here, just 2 plug welds, and I'll drill holes to match the spacing, so the flange. So this will augment, this metal I'm showing you will augment the structure, plus it will tie all the repaired part to the existing frame member. I want it all kind of secured, and even though there's 3 layers, they're all tied together and they'll all support one another. This metal, the frame member, will support the jacking point, the rear right jacking point, and therefore I need to have strength there, and I know that this will do the job. Okay, well, I'm going to get busy now and start prepping this. I'll bend it, I'll fit it, and then probably show a little bit of footage of me welding it in. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so what's going to happen now? I made this groove, so I'm going to have to weld a bead down here to strengthen this. So that's what I'll do. I'll get rid of this sign paint here, and I'll scrub that off, and then go ahead and stitch weld that in there. I'll probably do that before I actually weld this plate into the onto the frame. So I'm going to have to drill some holes for plug welds here, and I'll fit the new Panhard rod mount up against this and figure out where to draw, or to drill, I should say, some plug welds. I want to put 2 plug welds from this all the way through all of the layers I've installed and up to the inside of the Panhard fixture, or not to the inside but to the surface of the Panhard fixture. Then this will be that'll be a secure way of attaching the Panhard fixture to the frame, as well as I was saying earlier, these edge mounts, edge welds and that. So this will be plug welded to the existing flanges. Okay. Well, it looks like I had good penetration, lots of heat in there. So what I'm going to do now, I'll let this cool down, and tomorrow when I come back out to the garage, what I'm going to do is I'll grind this weld down. Actually, it looks pretty awful, but actually, you know, except for a few kind of mistakes I made here, it came out better than most of my welding, so maybe I am slowly improving. Okay, we're going to shut her down.